Okay, real quick on the subject of accountability, because there's one thing that I can always kind of ground myself in. I have those moments where, I've been exposed to so much narcissism, and again, you want to win the approval of those people, especially when it starts early in your life, and you can take on those narcissistic behaviors. So when I start to question myself, am I at in that? There is a moment that I can go back to, very grateful for. And I'm going to start doing more of these because they are exercises in reassuring yourself of who you are. Um, and I did learn a lot in the absence at a certain point of good mental health care. Again, good therapy of any kind. I had to learn a lot of things by myself, just a lot of coping skills. And again, I'm really curious about what other survivors, like what tools they picked up that they just created for themselves in an absence of anything else. um, but back to my dad's sort of constant message of accountability, and just deal with it, be all right, just face it, get through it, go through the fire, you'll live. um, there's a specific moment that I remember, and it's weird that I remember it because I do know that was right in a phase where I was for sure binge drinking a lot. Um, but I was dating someone that I'd been with for a couple of years. We were very close, but for the fact that we were just never in love. We loved each other very much, good friends. Something I really cared about. That I was in throes. I was in my 20s, and I still did not know what kind of abuse I'd been under. Still didn't really know or understand the trauma or how I was dealing with it. But God, this is wild. I remember the exact bar I was in. I don't know who was playing, but I know the bar I was in. I could probably name a lot of the other people that were there. I know the exact spot I was standing in, like the part of the bar where I was talking to the guy I was dating, and a guy who was one of my closest friends, my dearest friends, knew me inside and out, probably better than anybody else. And I was giving the guy I was dating some kind of hell. And my friend Steve, in the middle of me just, saying whatever to Sean, he said, "Ellen, you're being an emotional bully." Yeah, you're being an emotional bully. But there are a lot of ways, like on a weekend night in a bar, that you could react to that in your 20s, in the midst of a bunch of trouble you don't understand. That's probably the reason I remember it, is because I probably handled that better than anything like that that's ever been thrown at me. This guy, two guys I'm standing there with, and I'm in some kind of emotional turmoil. I don't know what that was. But someone I trust said to me, "You're being an emotional bully." And it stopped me. Again, I know I didn't stop. I mean, it didn't just immediately reroute me, but it did stop me long enough to think, why would he be saying that? And it stopped me from doing, I think, or saying whatever I was at. And then I remember going back to revisit it in some way, and realizing that, yeah, he was right. I was bullying. I was acting in my own self-interest without really thinking about what consequence it might have on my partner. Um, so that's where you go. If I can go back to my 20s and remember in that moment that my friend Steve stopped me with just that little message in a bar, in a very social and alcohol charged environment, he was able to say to me, "Hey, you're being an emotional bully." And I was able to hear that message enough to hear it then, address it in some way, and recognize that he was right, and still remember it now, a good 25 years or more later. Um, Check your accountability. Uh, but because anybody who is caught up in this trauma, drama, narcissism right now, one thing I've known for a long time is it is so easy to lose your perspective on where you're at. Who are you being in the moment? The fact is that once we have been subjected to trauma, once we've been abused, we're all a little loose, we're all a little unpredictable, and we've got to find that fitting. I mean, you do have to be deliberate. No one really gets to escape this without addressing their own accountability. And that's the real way. It's very simple. It's just, can I find the points in my life where I've been recognized the empathy, I've recognized that I needed to meet someone, probably someplace that was more uncomfortable for me, or to their advantage. If you're able to do that, if you've learned that lesson and have been able to apply it, if you can meet someone halfway and just say, I see where you're at, you can find those points in your life that you can authentically say you've done that, been able to drop the ego that would have gotten in front of it, the hard thing. That's a good checkpoint. And I did want to address that but more than anything, it's easy to go around pointing fingers at everybody else for the shit they're doing. The hardest thing is to point back at yourself and go, yeah, I'm not unaccountable here. So I really do appreciate what Lee Hammock is doing. I feel like it is in concert with what I've been trying to do my whole life, was just figure this out and my own part in it. I do think that on the side of the narcissist, yeah, you do need to get over that a little bit, because again, we are all struggling for identity and peace of mind and occupation of our brains in a way that we are happy with. And the only thing that's tripping you up is a giant ego in the way, thinking that you're somehow the only one doing that. But again, it doesn't leave me without accountability. It doesn't leave me without my weak spots, my moments where I fucked up. I did a lot. But at the end of the day, are you able to come back to the table, get back in the arena, get back in the game, admit your failures, hold your accountability, live in the truth that is both your powerful truth and maybe your weakest truth, your most uncomfortable truth. You got to be able to sit in it all. That's at the end of the day where you hold yourself and say, am I behaving like a narcissist? Am I inflicting myself on other people? Or am I keeping myself accountable enough that I'm included, other people are included, and I'm doing my best? When you fall back on, I have a disorder and I'm doing my best, you're not taking full accountability. Some of us had to learn that the hard way. Not enough of us. I do know that. I'm looking at that all over the place. The things right now that look really easy for me to hold some accountability for, even if I'm not the one that shoved it in your face, been good with that for a while. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's the human part of it. Can I sit here with you, be with you, and just be comfortable with where I'm at with it? Furthermore, and that's the accountability part, can you hit me with the weakest parts of myself? Can you hit me with the most unattractive parts of myself? And can I just stand there and receive that? Can I sit there with you while you do that? I can. Can you? That should be the test, I think. Tell me I'm wrong. Peace, loves.